right? So yeah, I was talking about that. Yeah. So brainstorming is one. Anybody here familiar with design thinking? Design thinking is a way to organize creative teams, and it's a 5-step method. First one is gather information. So you usually hire experts on something, anthropologists that, I don't know, imagine you want a better supermarket. They will spend 1 week in the supermarket, 1 week with someone who buys in the supermarket, 1 week with the supplier of the supermarket, 1 week with the person who makes the shopping carts in the supermarket, and 1 week with the security guard in the supermarket. 5 different persons. And they will come back to you, have a meeting, and explain what they found out. Experts. Step 1. Step 2, brainstorming with this information, which you also need people that are good at brainstorming with post-its and so on. Step 3, make a prototype. Step 4, iterate, and so on. Now with ChatGPT, you can tell ChatGPT, you are going to be an expert on shopping carts. You are going to be a household that is looking to save money and is busy. You are going to be the owner of the supermarket. And please tell me, what are your main worries in the supermarket, your main thing? Boom, you have it there, almost 80% of what you could get hiring someone, right? That lowers the cost so much. It's not 100%, but it's 80%. It's a lot. Yes? So that's how you can use it for many things. So the leader in this space is called John Maeda. I don't know if you know him, but he already made these notebooks online where you can say, define the roles and so on. Then you run the kernel and it splits the informations. You can also feed it your own data. Like, look, this is the report of my research assistant that went to this Lulu supermarket the other day. Add it. You can do that. And step by step, you can automate this thing that was impossible to automate before. Scary? Yes. After that, I will explain how I do the final exams with ChatGPT, but don't tell anybody. So, right. Okay, well, finally, we can share the screen. And I would love to share the screen, but thank you. Colorblind forever. Share the entire screen. Share. Very, very, very good. Right, I had prepared a few things here. All this ping pong chatbot thing, it's based on this code here called LangChain, if you are interested. One of my friends made this website. It has 300,000 users. It's based on that idea of the ping pong. Do you know this website, anybody? Okay, well, so imagine I have a problem. Is that the problem you have? Some of you? Tell me your deepest problem, you, lady in green. Your deepest problem you have right now, except how to get a good coffee in the university. What is it? Working in lab? Well, imagine you have the problem of how to find a job in Dubai. This guy tells you, look, you should look in Google, the job market. Then you should update your CV and then network. What do you think about this plan? You can come here and say, okay, let's research the job market first, launch. Then you launch this. This is costing me money as we speak now, okay? So pay attention. They will bill me for this later, like $0.1. And so now he's gonna talk to some other chat and say, oh, this is what I think. And that's the reason why I think this. And so that's like the background. And so look, I would go for Google and query job market in Dubai. What do you think? Should we approve this plan or not? Yes or no? And you could say, yes, let's do it. Just go. And now he's searching this. And now what he will get, he will ask another question. And this iterative step-by-step method, LangChain, actually works quite well. It's pretty interesting. It comes, and then he saves something in a file, and then he said, "Oh, look, well, this is what I found. This is what he found." Yes, through the API. Yeah, that's maybe the first 3 links. And it's like, huh. Okay, good. So, and then he will propose another action. So with this, it's like having a mentor in your house, basically. So that's one. Made by students. Awesome? Yeah, super awesome. The app I was talking about before, so just so you know it's real, is this one. And it works. It works well. Thanks to ChatGPT. It would not have been possible. Now, another thing I want to share with you. The example I talk about visualizing data. So I think it was here. Let's see. Here. So this is for a paper I am writing as we speak with people from Zayed University. So the first thing I ask is, hey, bonus point. Put the engineering design process in relationship to other processes, other tools like Agile, design thinking, SAFe, TOGAF, and so on. Do you know Agile? It's a way to work, right? I teach it to you, right? TOGAF is another one, and so on. And then he says, yeah, he does that. Really good explanation and summaries. And 90% correct. And then I have a small question here. I say, she clarifies. And then I say, can you show it to me? Same, but in a table. And then he goes, and bam, table. Really good. Really good. This is 10 hours of desktop research in one table. I say, okay. Right, okay. And then another question similar with the percentages I talk about. The mapping between and how it will affect. And I say, okay, good. Then I say, look, I need to put it in an Excel. So this, I cannot put in an Excel. Say, okay, this works for an Excel. Then I open the Excel. I just copy paste it. And then what happened? I asked her to write some code, our language, because it's the best visualization. Hey, visualize what I want to visualize in our language. This is the code, flawless code. I'm an expert on that, trust me. And so I went to a Kaggle notebook, where it's a place where you can run this kind of visualization code. So I just copy paste the code here. And then you have that table visualized like this. How much time did we save? A lot. And yeah, we need to check that the percentages are correct and all that stuff. But that saves so much time, right? So that's the example I wanted to show you. Come again? Right. So that's where it comes handy if you are an expert, right? Yeah, which you should be, right? But what this solves is the cold start problem. The cold start problem is I have to write a paper. I need to summarize what's happening. That's sometimes for some people, that's the hardest part. And then there's people that are good at finding mistakes in papers, right? I'm not this kind of person. But some people, they love. So you just need to find somebody in your team that is good for the task. Yes? I'm sure you know. By the way, ChatGPT is very good at finding mistakes. When I have to review a paper or even my own paper, what do? I say, ChatGPT, look at this paragraph. The best prompt I find so far is list the top 10 inconsistencies. And then it goes like, bam, bam, bam. And some of them you can ignore, but some of them are like, well, in this sentence, you use the conjunction nevertheless, but it should be however, because it's an, oh my God, right, you're right, right? It's amazing. It's really good. So that's the thing, how to use it. Right, so this is one of the chats we have, and as you can see, I have lots of chats, thousands and thousands of hours chatting here. And yes, it's not very good at maths. You should not use it for maths, but so on. Now, there's this thing called prompt engineering. Have you heard about this keyword before? Prompt engineering? No? So that's the art of talking to this thing, or this chat. Depending how you talk to it, it will answer better or worse, depending on your goals. And so for academics and scientists, and there are lots of papers about this, and there's even a LinkedIn course by my colleague. Do you know this guy? Well, he was in Netflix before. He's the guy behind the algorithm of Netflix. Remember how addictive it is? Yeah, that's the guy. Anyway, he's working on LinkedIn now, and he has this free course. If you have a UAU account, you can get it for free. I recommend you have it. And so the course name is Prompt Engineering. So prompt engineering is how do you talk so you get what you want. The thing I showed you about the coding, right? Don't ask GPT to make the chart for you, ask to make the code for the chart. But it turns out, and I'm not gonna go through it, but the summary of it is whatever you ask, if you're in a scientific environment, always add at the end, think step by step. Explain to me in layman terms, this kind of think step by step, or let's have a think about it and think step by step and explain each step. And when you do that, for some reason that nobody understands, the answers tend to be more logical, way more logical. And the answers that are from an engineering perspective crazy are less. Does this make sense? Remember, this is a predictive system. So I guess the step-by-step appears in many engineering textbooks, and that gives the signal to the ChatGPT to take more weight from those texts where she was trained. Whereas if you go like in a joking manner, you might get a different result. Does that make sense to you? Okay, so that's called the black box problem. I think it's very sad that we spend time on this kind of, this is how you have to talk, like if it was a 5-year-old. But that's the state of the technology. Yes? Very good. So these courses are free. And by the way, they have measured, like when they ask a question and they add step by step, the percentage of time it's like 30% better or more accurate. Yeah. So that's called prompt engineering. In time, you will develop your own prompt that works for you. So that's also good. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the plugins. Plugins. Do you know what's a plugin? When you are in the paying version, you have the right to use a plugin. The most popular plugins are the ones that allow you to put a PDF file in the chat, usually the paper you're trying to understand, and ask questions on that paper. Make sense? So those are plugins. I use some plugins here. My friends have made plugins by themselves. One of them, they made a plugin called Science. This plugin makes ChatGPT to cite references better somehow. I don't know how they did it. Yes? There's plugin called Ask PDF. So that's great if you want to upload your own PDF. Yes? Bonus point. And so on. So plugins are good. And you can also make your own plugin. The way plugins are made, it's really simple. There's a prompt. And there's a few other things. It's not very complicated. You can make your own plugin and make it popular. Yeah, right. So plugins work like that. I'm gonna tell one story. So one colleague was crying to me saying, "Oh, I've been asked to write a book chapter about this, my papers, and I don't have time on this." I say, okay. Which papers? She sends me the papers link. I say, okay, how many words? 8,000 words. Like, so it has to be like a summary of the previous papers, right? Wow, yeah, okay. So I go to ChatGPT, say, hey, my friend. So what do you think? Said, and it should be based on her papers. And ChatGPT replied, this was a few months ago. Now you cannot do this anymore. They stopped it. So ChatGPT said, yeah, sure, send me the papers. So how am I going to send you the papers? I'm in a chat. He said, well, put them on a Dropbox, she said, and I'll have a look. So I put the papers of my friend in a Dropbox, and I gave it to her, to ChatGPT. And she starts making the summary. And she said, well, she made the table of contents first. And then she wrote. But it only wrote 6,000 words. So I had to tell her, expand this section, right? And then she expanded. And then I gave this to my friend, and my friend was very happy because it saved her maybe 20 hours, 10 hours, solve the cold start problem. And she likes to, is the type of person who likes to improve things. That's fine. Yes, you cannot do this anymore. They stopped it, but you can use the, yes. Or if the paper is online and it's famous, it will accept the link somehow. Sounds good? Right. The other thing I want to talk about is mental health. Are you familiar with this one? So this is Pi.ai is financed by Reid Hoffman, the inventor of LinkedIn. And the CEO is Mustafa Suleyman. Do you know him? Mustafa Suleyman? Mustafa Suleyman. The co-founder of DeepMind, the guys who invented all these things, the guys from London, yeah? Mustafa Suleyman, Demis Hassabis are the ones who invented this thing. Okay, so he did this one, and it's very good, but it's for mental health. It's amazing. It's really good and funny. It's not good at coding, okay? Terrible at coding. So you should have, you're doing your PhD, right? Yeah. Yeah, I can see it. It's tough, right?
I can talk to it and tell it problems about my PhD.
Yeah, on one side, yes. I mean, nobody's watching now, so we can talk about it. Yeah, so let's try it. Like, how do you feeling about your PhD?
Lost.
I am a PhD. I am a PhD. What's the topic?
Sorry?
Topic.
My topic? Let's say UAV design.
Unmanned aerial vehicles.
Yeah.
Topic UAV design. I feel lost. Confused.
And
Helpless. I know I should have known better before starting the PhD. What can I do? So this is one of the best because she's funny, or he, whatever he is. So it's very American, right? Do you feel like doing an Oppenheimer on your supervisor?
Sorry?
Do you feel like doing an Oppenheimer on your supervisor? Yeah, let's pretend you are, okay? Sometimes I feel like Oppenheimer. That's what it says. Anyway, okay, so now I'm gonna go more hands-on. List coping strategies. Look, yeah, break down your work, practice okay, and talk to friends, basically. Expand. Right? And you can also, okay, but I have no friends. My friends, yeah, even though I am very handsome. Right, so it's really good. It's really good. I wish I had this. I wish I had this with my PhD, man. Right, so there are lots of flavors
sorry,
of these.
excuse me, I have a question. So when you say mental health, is it just to help with your elevate your mental health symptoms of stress and distress? That's what it is. That's what the this AI is for, to alleviate your stress. It's not for writing, it's not for anything else to do with PhD work. It's just for mental health to make you feel better.
Absolutely, 100%, yes. And also, legally, they're not allowed to give medical advice or coping advice, et cetera. So they wouldn't be able to market this as mental health. Actually, they market it as practice a big conversation, basically. That's how they market it. Yes. So yeah, there are lots of legal constraints here. But what they're doing is quite clear, yeah? And just imagine many people are ashamed to go to a psychologist, for example, right? But they're not ashamed to talk to a machine, right? So I think this is a huge field. It was started by the first support chatbot. It was created at Stanford in 2016. It was called WeBot. It didn't go anywhere because at that time there was no AI. But now this is incredible. Yes. Thanks for the question. Any more questions? Play game. I haven't tried this one. Anyway, kudos to Mustafa Suleiman and Britt Hoffman for this one. Excellent. Yeah, more or less, this is it. Anybody interested in industrial design, for example? Yes, anybody interested in industrial design? No, okay. So as you know, there's another chat called Midjourney. This is for images, right? And this one works very well. What industrial designers use it for is they will do the sketch with the pencil, for example, a shoe. And then usually what would happen is that they would hire a computer graphic guy that will make the render. That would take $1,000, $2,000. Model the shoe, and then it's photorealistic rendering. But now you can take the sketch, send it to Midjourney or one of similar ones, like Diffusion AI, and it will create a render, not 100% what you draw, but something quite similar. There's lots of examples in the internet. And it saves you like $1,000, $2,000, which means you can prototype faster and better. Same for architecture, same for interior design. All this is coming. And same for exams. Okay, and now final anecdote. I'm going to explain here. I hope I don't get fired. So yeah, I had to do the final exam for my students. Not final, some exam, some quiz. So what did I do? I'm not going to spend time making a quiz on my own book, right? No, I dropped the book in Dropbox. I gave it to the guy and say, hey, make the quiz for chapter 1. And she said, sure. And she gave me some And I said, no, 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 no. This quiz has to go to Blackboard. So it has to be this format. First column like this, second column like this. Da, 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 da. Here's an example. Do it again. I do it again. I'm very satisfied because I just spent 30 minutes prompt engineering, right? And I put it, and the next day, I have 10 students in the class scratching their heads, like, psychopath teacher. And one of them is looking at me straight like this and say, what? He's looking at the test. He's like, is it possible? I said, what possible? She comes to me and says, it's a multiple choice test, A, B, C, D. And says, well, all the correct answers is always the A. Are you playing with my mind? Say, not me, maybe ChatGPT. So yeah, just be careful when you do quizzes because it tends to, the correct answer always tends to be A, and Blackboard, when you randomize it, it doesn't randomize well, some things. Yeah. Okay, so that's more or less all what I know about ChatGPT. And of course, there's more to come. But I think the big thing now is this. And by the way, okay, and last thing. So I was talking to this Elsevier editor the other day, and I asked her, so we were in Denver, Colorado in a conference. And thank you, Elsevier, for inviting me for dinner. But I asked her, what about ChatGPT and all that stuff, right? Do you get a lot of fake papers or whatever they call it? And she said, yes, we get a lot of AI made terrible papers. And I said, how do you know? They are, yeah. And she said, tortured phrases. So what's that? Is that when you tell the AI to talk about something like UAVs, and then it won't stop repeating UAVs all over the paragraph, which is something humans don't do. So that's the torture phrase. And then we know. I said, oh, it's very interesting. But you can add that in the prompt, yeah? Say, mention UAV on not more than 3 times. Yeah. But then it also does like weird synonyms about UAVs, yeah? So you have to be careful. Yeah. Yeah, I'm watching you. All right. So that's all. There's lots of new tools coming up every day, every week, I would say. Lots of projects, open source projects. But yeah, it's pretty super interesting sphere. If you're interested in this topic, we are writing now, we're investigating in 3 fields: architecture, engineering, and software engineering, how the AI will impact the design process. And so you all have my email, right? Or my maybe I should put here. You can find me on LinkedIn because that's my name, yeah. So you that's the best way to find me. These are some books I write in my free time about creativity, and so please do connect. I'll be happy to send you links and so on. Sounds good? All right, so now we open the floor for questions, a little bit of Q&A for the chat. People online, this is your chance to speak up.
Sorry, maybe I'm a little bit deaf. Maybe I missed something. So basically, we can use ChatGPT for writing, but it's you ask it to paraphrase, and then I'm a bit lost. So I am doing nutrition. My project is in nutrition. My department is nutrition. So let's say I want to write, so let's say I want to write a paper on COVID in the African diaspora. So can I ask, how can I approach it if I'm writing a literature review on COVID, let's say in the African diaspora?
Yeah, so it's not very good at writing a literature review paper from scratch, but what you can do is to ask it to list the novel trends in nutrition or the novel trends in nutrition related to XYZ, and for example, the macrobiome or for space and so on, then it's very good, because things until 2021, she will try to summarize it for you, and so that's really good. However,
Okay.
if you're a forefront expert on nutrition, you will not be impressed. For example, when I asked ChatGPT about one of my topics, data visualization, she's right 90% of the time, but she doesn't have the latest cutting edge knowledge on it, and that's fine. That's fine. That means I still have a job. Yeah, but if you're more interested, you can send me a message later on LinkedIn, and I will try to help you with the prompting. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. I just have one more question to follow that. So let's say you use ChatGPT to write a paper. Do you have to disclose it as a disclaimer at the bottom of the paper or any of that? I know it hasn't gotten so far, but as far as it's got, do I have to disclaim it?
There were some smart researchers that put ChatGPT as co-author in some Elsevier journal because they thought it was cool, but now Elsevier has said, don't do that. That's sad. So that's not cool. Like at the moment, ChatGPT cannot write any useful paper for anybody. But what it can do is help you with the literature review. It can help you with the conclusions. It's very good at summarizing. That's his best quality, summarizing. So if you wrote your paper, you can ask ChatGPT to do the conclusions, and then it solves your cold start problem with the conclusion. So, but no, ChatGPT doesn't write papers for you. Yeah, there's an arms race now. The UA library has bought a new software, so everybody's scrambling now what to do. Yeah, so yeah, it is a problem if you go to ChatGPT and you just copy paste that into the paper, and that's not a good idea. Yeah, but if you should think of it as a spell checker. Do you disclose you use a spell checker? No, you don't. You can also, ChatGPT is also very good at, you're not, for example, imagine you're not native speaker. You can say, imagine I'm an English native speaker in nutrition. This is my text, make it sound like native speaker, like this journal I'm targeting. And then she will do a great job. Yeah, so that's a very good advantage, because there's a lot of bias with the language and so on. Yes, I hope this answered questions. Any other questions? Right, we have one question here. The PhD student. Hold on.
Other than the so other than your prompts that you said before about how to ask ChatGPT, do you have any other specific prompts?
Yes,
we should use
there is a paper that's been cited 10,000 times almost about prompt engineering, and so I'll send it to you. Yeah. Okay, the chat. Let's go to the chat. Let's start with the last question in the chat. Turnitin kind of software. Yeah, so Turnitin, for example, has been struggling with the detector. They are improving it, but Turnitin is not an AI company, so I think you're safe at the moment. But they're trying to improve. That's what I heard from the library intelligence. Right. What is your stance on ChatGPT in academic writing? So we had a town hall meeting a few months ago, and there's no stance at the moment.
What if we asked ChatGPT to check for the spelling errors?
That's great. Yes.
Does it then, if I upload my paper, will it count in the plagiarism, and will it be saved on web?
No, I don't think it counts at all. The only thing you have to be careful if you ask to write something and it says these canned responses, because the typical canned response from the internet. That's what you have to avoid. And you can avoid that with prompt engineering. In any way, you shouldn't you shouldn't let ChatGPT be your voice. It should be the opposite. Yes. Yeah. Okay. More questions from the chat. Is the audio available? Yes, it is available. And God Mode Space, thank you, Coach Shankar, for sharing God Mode Space. God Mode Space, and not any more questions. What can I do if ChatGPT says it was my paragraph, even though I wrote it? Yeah. I have no idea about that question. It's a really good question. You should write a paper about that. Very good. Right. Any more questions? Yes, one more question from civil engineering. Hold on. Chemical. Just a mic.
So what you mentioned is mostly from the premium version of ChatGPT, but if you're using the normal version only for research, do you think it has good capability?
Very good question. So my experience with Flutter code, which is like Python, is that the paying version was 10x better. But the thing is, the model changes a lot, has been drifting a lot. We don't know why. They don't know why. So I remember 3 months ago, it was terrible, the paying version. Now it has come up a bit better. At the beginning, it was the most amazing experience because it was not filtered. You could talk to her, him, whatever, and it would tell you crazy stuff like this. You shouldn't say that. But yeah, but now they are tweaking it. Nobody understands very well what's going on there. Even they don't know what's going on. That's my guess. The free version, if you're doing simple stuff, it's great. But if you want more deeper for coding, in my experience, it's worth paying. Worth.
Yeah. There are many of them.
The best one in the world is the one developed by TII, Falcon B. It's free. You can use it in Hugging Face. Yeah. That, there's like exams for ChatGPT, these models. There's exams. They are hosted in a company called huggingface.co. It's a company by French people. They are in New York. And in this place, people upload their models. Big people, I say Microsoft and people like this. And then they have tests, IQ tests, emotional tests, ethics tests, and so on. And they have a ranking. So the number one now is the ones from Abu Dhabi TII, the Falcon B model. The problem is just scoring a test doesn't mean you know the subject, yes, as you know from the students. So still, for me, I prefer to use ChatGPT when I have to ask questions about coding. If you ask like quiz questions, like who's this, who's that, who's right, who's wrong, somebody scores all the tests perfectly. But for thinking and so on, other things are better. Like Pi, for example, for emotional coaching is much better than Falcon B, obviously, because it's for that. Yes. So Falcon B is free of charge if you're not doing commercial, so you can use it and download it. Yeah. But it's really funny. You ask who made you, and it says Microsoft. It's really funny. All right. Any other questions? All right, well, thanks for coming. This was great, and I hope to see you online. Oh. After the workshop, yeah, I will give you the feedback. And what is the take of leading publishers about ChatGPT? So as I said, publishers are not worried at all. They have detected an increase in people that send